podcast. Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Thursday night. Starting a couple minutes late. Do apologize about that, but again, welcome to Truth and Transparency. Again, this is coverage of the Sunset Secrets portion of Gilliam's case, Savante Gilliam. And it is Savante's birthday, 7/7/87, so a happy heavenly birthday to Savante. Again, 2016, June 1st, 2016. His body was found at about 5:45 in the morning. June 1st, 5:45 in the morning, 2016. Again, I'll let those notifications kick in. And this quick episode is to show the locations that evening, the stops, and to talk a little bit about who was out and about that evening and some stuff that had gone on at the end of March of 2016. What is up, Midge? What is up, Jane? Again, just a minute for these to click in. If you have been following the case, this is just breaking it down a little bit. But off here to the left, you guys can see that is actually a 2013 picture. So they were remodeling, and that is the main street bar and grill. It no longer is operating now, but it did, obviously, in 2016. If you guys aren't too familiar with Aliquippa, the streets are all very close together. There are some areas that are spread out when you're not in one of the plans. But something that I thought was very interesting from this picture alone is that in 2016, this is a street view. This is a street view, September 2021. And I got cameras up there. Again, this was fully functioning in 2016. Leaving the bar, it is alleged that there was only 2 people in the vehicle. Lana just literally got home. Well, welcome. Here we go. Again, it has been alleged that there was only 2 people in the vehicle, or the names that you would have only heard about from witnesses saying that Savante was in the car with Brandon, and that Brandon was driving his rental 2016 Ford Taurus. But since the arrest warrant, a new name popped up, and it's actually a very interesting name. So again, hello, Kimmy. What is up, the new me? Maple Beeve. Again, and all of those that aren't using the live chat feature. So it was said that Robertson was dropped off at the Main Street Grill. And then Gilliam called his girlfriend, or she called him, either way. Wow. Aliquippa now has 6 cops. Got a new part-timer. Well, it makes me feel safer when I'm in town. Thank you, Kimmy, for the update there. But it is stated in paperwork that Gilliam and Brandon dropped off Robert Robertson at the Main Street bar here. Before that, they were getting or he was getting his hair cut. I think it should be known to a lot of people that Savante had just gotten back about a year ago, a year prior to his death. He hadn't been living in Aliquippa. If you guys have heard anything about him, he actually fought for our country. He has a Purple Heart. Today is his birthday, 7/7/87. And so he had just moved back to Aliquippa again and had only been there like a year prior to his murder. You heard the DA talk about bank robberies. He makes comments, and I think that, again, I wouldn't make those comments. If Brandon and Gilliam were doing these bank robberies, then why are there other people in prison for them? I'm at the end. Am I at the wrong end? Oh, I'm facing the other way. I should be at 1006. Let me double check that. Mm, 1607. Yes. I put in 106. That might help. Oopsies. There she is. I was going to say, I thought that looked a little too nice. There you go. There's your sign. But it is on the corner. Main Street and just a little bit more. I'm going to turn this around. Irwin Street right there. And that's actually where the car is going to end up, but it's all the way at the end of Irwin Street. But we're going to go this way. Like so. So again, the DA said that after the car would be drove 3 miles, it would just shut off. Well, just so we're clear, even after leaving Main Street and driving over to what would be McMinn Street, which I'm going to take us so you guys can see how long it would take. And it's just about 1.5 miles. Again, this is just to help people that are not familiar with the area. 2117, I believe. Yep, there we go. So 1607, if they would have left Main Street. I want to make sure you guys can see this. Whoopsies. Perfect. You guys can see. Make that left on 16th. I'm down there. God, you're the best. Kimmy, you are the best. All right, good. You guys can see this. So on the right side of your screen, there's a 1607 Main Street. There's your bar right there. And if what police are alluding to, because they're going to use cell phones, which I think is very interesting. They're using cell phone towers, and I want to know what new technology they're using, because the 911 caller in Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s case called from Baden, PA. So maybe they can use that same technology for that case. But yeah. So you're going to go down Main Street, make a right on 20th, then make a left on McMinn, and it's going to be almost all the way down to where 22nd Street meets. Again, this is only a 2-minute drive, so half of a mile. And then from McMinn, this is the area right here on the sidewalk. This is a number that they used. So again, this is to help the people at home that are not familiar with the area. And that's cute. She's just walking along with her groceries. Perfect. Again, so they left the bar, allegedly, and then there's a phone call between 12 and 12:30, of which it was like, we're going to go to the Pittsburgh casino. And his girlfriend wanted him to, not go. There is no witness that said they come forward and say that we heard gunshots at this time or that time. If they have, it's not being said anywhere. So the body's found at 5:45 in the morning, and the last known sighting is at this Main Street bar at about 12. And then his body's found at 5:45, so you got 5 hours and 45 minutes of, what happened. Did he die at 12, 12:30, 4, 3, 2, 5:45? Now, the car, though, his rental car was not where his body was. Okay, instead, back to the directions from McMinn. Then we're going to 101 Irwin Street is what they're listing it as, which then is going to be about 1.3 miles and a 5-minute drive, it says. So again, the car stopped working because it drove 3 miles. I just don't even know where they're getting that from. So, let's see. Gonna take us over here to 101 Irwin Street. It's like on a dead end. Okay. If you guys are just joining us, you guys did not miss a bunch. All right, so then again, I'm trying to just go slow for everybody. He gets his hair cut. He's hanging with his buddies. He goes to the bar, whether he's, people said that he, was having drinks or whatever, but that he was not like trashed or anything. Again, that's going to be all whatever's in their witness canvas reports. Again, don't go crazy. I think there's a lot in there with Aliquippa. So then they leave the bar, and they're saying then that they never went to Pittsburgh. Because Brandon's saying that he got home after dropping, or that Gilliam dropped him off at his girlfriend's house, and that, he left. And that's so, like, he wasn't with him. And this is what the technology they're saying is that they were able to prove that they were actually together at the time of the murder. And I just, I have some questions around that, but the second print besides Brandon's was a guy named John. And I know if you guys have followed Sunset Secrets, you guys have heard me talk about Jojo Catropa back in the day, and that his run-ins with the law as far as getting popped for, drugs. Well, I want to point something out, that on 3/29/2016, so March 29th, 2016, basically just 2 months before Savante Gilliam's death, before he was murdered, Jojo Catropa gets popped for basically a drug bust. 2 weeks later, on 4/13/2016, John Abe Mayer gets popped with a drug bust. Again, 4/13/2016, 3/29/2016. And remember, John's fingerprints are found in Savante Gilliam's rental, as well as Brandon Rivas's fingerprints. This rental car was from Avis, and it's the Avis that's at the Pittsburgh airport. John lives in Pittsburgh. So if John was with, they're going to have to do some work and find out when he got that rental. If that paperwork is still even there, hopefully it is. But you're going to want to find out when he got the rental, because then you're going to be able to say, okay, the possible dates that he could have been in his car to put the fingerprints there are going to be from this time to this time. But DA wants to talk about these bank robberies. Well, I want everybody to know that there are people in prison for these bank robberies. These alleged, they did happen, but did they have the people that did it? Pope and Bridges. So the DA saying that Brandon Rivas and Savante Gilliam were planning bank robberies. Well, when was that happening? Because Savante Gilliam was in California a year prior to his death. I know that he was coaching youth football when he came back, helping out. And then the other thing that the DA talks about is that, they may have been selling drugs together too. And that Brandon thought that Gilliam stiffed him and out of drug money. Interesting. Well, the first thing is that if Savante Gilliam was planning bank robberies, then why didn't you arrest him, and why didn't he go to prison? And, maybe he'd still be alive today then. But you said you had the people that did that. There was a search warrant on December 5th of 2015, so 6 months before he was murdered. They searched Savante Gilliam's home because it was in connection with these bank robberies, and allegedly they found a bag that was Brandon Revis's with clothes and a weapon. But nothing happened. I mean, nothing happened to Gilliam. Nothing happened to Brandon. And there's a couple other things that we're going to talk about with this Irwin Street, this address. At one point, Brandon Revis lived at the 1005 Irwin Street address. Was it during the time of the homicide? I mean, I don't know that, because I'm going to use an example here when, Pew, just because his driver's license said 127 Orchard Street, he was not living there. But at one point he was. But I do know that at one point, whether it's during the homicide, whether before it, after it, Brandon Revis was living right where that car would have been. But allegedly, he went to his girlfriend's house, right? Other people also lived on Irwin Street, but they lived a couple more houses, blocks down, and that would be Tyler Bridges. He lived on Irwin Street. He's in prison for the bank robberies. I'll just stop there. But how would John get home if he was in a rental? Did he have his own car there that night? Do you think that John was even with them that night? Do you think those prints are from a different day? Because I think the same could be said for Brandon in terms of, I was hanging out with Gilliam like all the time. Of course my fingerprints would be in there. But can that be said true to John? And I only ask this question because, they want to talk about bank robberies, and I more or less want to talk about busts that were happening, and back to back, 329, 413, and then within 2 months of 329, 413, within 2 months of that happening, John Abrams is in Savante Gilliam's car at some point, whether it was that night or the day before or whatever, because his fingerprints are in there. And obviously Brandon Revis's fingerprints are in there. And then that night, boom, he's murdered. But why? Well, then a couple days pass, and Dan Costa wants to come and talk about, hey, Brandon Revis came to me on May 9th and said, yada, 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 basically saying that he thought that Gilliam was, turned CI, basically. And he was trying to, he was basically going to go against him. How do we know that Brandon never told that to Dan? How do we know that Dan's just not saying that? I mean, I'll be honest. To park a rental if you were living at that house to park a rental there. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe that's just screaming to the cops, hey, I did this. Also, if he just had shot a gun and then got in, the vehicle was there, gunpowder, on the steering wheel. And they went and talked to these people since they were the last people with them, meaning Brandon. Did they ask him for his clothes? All of these things we don't know yet. But let's go back to what the DA said. He believed that Brandon and Gilliam were dealing drugs together. Or were they dealing drugs for other people? Which is it? Or could it be both? So could it be possible that a drug bust, a couple of them that happened kind of back to back, 329, 412, could that be, could that have anything to do with it? To the point that Gilliam was part of that team. Gilliam was part of that team. I mean, John's in his car, right? How does he know this John kid? I mean, the DA is the one that said this, that they were dealing drugs together. Well, and what they want us to believe is that basically Brandon, was just got this wild idea that, his good buddy is going to turn on him. Well, Brandon wasn't the one that got popped with drugs. And Brandon didn't get popped on 329. Brandon didn't get popped on 412. And then you got none other than Frank Atropa's buddy, who's the one that went to the police and said, hey, Brandon Rivas came to me and told me that, he had a, 40 caliber, and that he thought that Gilliam was going to tell on him or something like that. People don't talk to the police in Aliquippa. People usually keep their mouth shut. At least that's what I've seen. But yet they want to bring up these bank robberies. Well, I was just under the impression that you had the people that did it, and one of them went away in 2017, the other one went away in 2020. So that actually means that they were both out and about and able to also be suspects. Because if they were in this, doing this together, you would throw them in the mix then. But this cell phone new technology, which I cannot wait to hear about, because I hope that they apply this new technology to the Rachel Del Tondo case. I hope they apply it to Sheldon Jeter Jr. case. And I hope they apply it to the 911 call, because I went ahead and broke the news, I don't know, about a month ago, that the 911 caller in Sheldon's case with Tyreek Pugh, I mean, you could say whatever you want. That call came from Baden. So how do you explain that? Well, I'm hoping that they can use this handy-dandy new technology to explain that. But you got Brandon Rivas, who potentially could be living in this house, and that rental was found. Like I said, you guys see how it's a dead-end street. What it looks like to me is that somebody knew that it was a dead-end street and went to that dead end and popped it there and left it there because they knew it was a dead-end street down there. Because I just can't think for the life of myself that if I lived right there, I'm going to just take the rental to where I live. But remember, though, the DA said that the car died, basically, that they couldn't drive it any further because it had just shut off because it went 3 miles. Now, it's on a cul-de-sac. It's on a dead-end street. That's what I wanted to show you guys. It was really important to see stuff just because of logic. So this looks like, to me, if I was going to... Oh, look at this. Nope, just throw it down here. Park it off over here. I can't imagine if I lived right over here in one of these houses that I'm parking a rental that does not belong to me and actually belongs to the person that I just murdered. I mean, if that is the case, then that's just not very bright. But also, if that is the case, then why did it take you 6 years to do this? Oh, wait, that's right. You use this new technology. I just don't buy any of it. I'm not saying that Brandon is not the person that did this. I just don't buy it. This isn't the truth. In my humble opinion, in my non-expert opinion. Did they see if there were any mechanical issues? No. It's because the key fob was in Gilliam's pocket. And that's what they said, that the key fob was there and that the car could only travel 3 miles before it would just shut off. Well, that's not true. In fact, it's like, that's not what happens at all. That car will drive until it runs out of gas. Even if the key fob isn't, as long as it was in there when it started up, you could literally get out of the vehicle after you start it up and you have your key in your pocket. You go in your house, you change your pants because you spilled coffee on them. You come back out and you left for work. Your car is going to go as far as, until it runs out of gas. It does not shut off after 3 miles because your key fob is not with you. That is not true. But by God, that's what they told us. About a month ago, they went ahead and they issued a $10,000 reward money if anybody, could give us information that would lead to an arrest. So when people say, oh, this person, that's this, they're not releasing who the person is, obviously. They said, yep, he came to me and told me that he did this. And so then 6 years later, this person comes and they want to then tell that. And this led to an arrest. So do they get that $10,000? Or is it going to be a conviction? Kimmy, I love your hearts. Again, so let's review this. Again, if you've been following Sunset Circuits, I know it's a lot to take in. But again, happy heavenly birthday. It is 7/7/87. So today is Savante's birthday, so happy birthday. Again, Savante was getting his hair cut, according to his girlfriend, Dwight Hines. Then they drop off Robert Robertson at the Main Street Bar. Then Brandon Rivas is driving his rental. Now, who's to say like they didn't actually go to the Pittsburgh casino? Well, I'm guessing that. I mean, I've been to Rivers before. Any casino is going to have mad ass security cameras all over. So I'm guessing that they went ahead and checked that to see if they ended up going. So they could probably, cross that off that they didn't go. But it was said that he never came home. They find his body. They then go to give this, death notice, interview his girlfriend, and then on the phone, they don't go and see Brandon Rivas, by the way. They call him up on the phone, and talk to him on the phone. And he said that, yeah, he dropped me off at my girlfriend's house. And that was that. And then what they were able to say is all these years later that this technology puts them, the handsets together that the FBI did, this new age technology to be able to put Savante Gilliam's phone and Rivas's phone at the same time, at the same place when the murder happened. I just don't know. So how do you know when this murder happened? Well, the last known ping was here, and then his phone never pinged again. And when his last time his phone pinged, that's when what's his name's phone pinged. Okay, so that's circumstantial. So where do you think Lauren Watkins' phone would ping? And where do you think Rachel Altondo's phone would ping? And where do you think Tyree Jeter's would ping on the night of Rachel's death? They would all ping at the same place at the same time, right? At the time of her death. So I'm very interested to hear about this new age technology versus that we had someone just come forward and basically say that he admitted to me that he went ahead and he committed this crime. Again, I'm not saying that he did or he didn't. I'm just saying then if it's that easy, why don't you offer $10,000 for Rachel Altondo? Someone come forward with that. How about there's a couple other unsolved homicides? Why don't we just keep on offering up $10,000? Maybe we can solve some crimes in Aliquippa and in Beaver. I don't buy it though. I don't believe that I believe that if Brandon thought that, I think that he was told that. Where would Brandon get the idea that Gilliam was talking to the police? Who would tell him that? I mean, you guys know all about triangulation, right? In fact, I've seen it so much on the YouTube streets. But if I want to freak you out, I would just tell you what, hey, your boy Gilliam is doing this. What? Yep. He was down at this, da-da-da-da. Yeah, no, he's talking to the Pennsylvania State Police. Do you think that Brandon just saw him with his own eyes, saw Gilliam down at the station talking to police? Or do you think somebody told him that? I mean, if there was a bag of clothes and a weapon at Savante's house on December, 5th of 2015, and it was Brandon's, did they then, wouldn't that lead them to go to Brandon's and check his stuff out? What'd they find? So there was clothes and a weapon 6 months later from these summer, what was it, October, November, so it was like a couple months later. So basically what they were hammering down on Savante to tell them what's going on. Well, I may say Brandon's name, but it's at your house. This is your stuff. Basically, those bank robberies were almost a year, probably about 9 months, after. That's when he was murdered, because that was October, November. They were 3 weeks in a row. There was also one of the, what's his name? Mark. Is it Mark David? Kimmy knows. When did The Town come out? You guys know the movie The Town? When did The Town come out? Was everybody in Aliquippa watching The Town with Ben Affleck and shit? They're like, yeah, let's just start hitting up some banks. I can't remember when that came out. I'm going to look. Oh, 2010. Let's see. I got something else for you. I'll go with this one. Let's check this out. That was his name, Mike. Yes, I'm going to show it too. Here we go.
Screen there, police say he got away with cash. The search is on tonight for a man on your screen there. Police say he got away with cash after showing a gun at an Aliquippa credit union this morning. Now, we first brought you this as breaking news at noon, and since then, police have given us a lot more information on it, including the picture of the suspect. Channel 11's Kara Sapida live tonight on this developing story. Kara.
David, Aliquippa police told us this man held up the bank first thing this morning. This was no out-of-towner. They're familiar with him. They know where he last lived. They're searching for him tonight and say he should be considered armed and dangerous. A teller inside of this Aliquippa bank hit the emergency alarm at 9 o'clock this morning, just after the bank opened. Aliquippa police rushed to the Friendly Federal Credit Union on Main Street, but not before the bank robber got away. The teller told the chief of police the man had a gun and demanded cash.
He raised his shirt and showed the weapon in his waistband.
Take a look at this mug shot. Police told Channel 11 they quickly identified the suspect, 43-year-old Michael Joseph Frederick.
His name is actually Michael Joseph David. He changed his last name to Frederick. So that is the last name David is known because that has to do with Law Enforcement Connect. Georgie David. You know, Georgie David is the guy that, allegedly waved the gun and did all that stuff to John Paul.
Who also goes by the name Michael Joseph David. Officers are familiar with him and warn he is dangerous.
We're asking that anybody make contact with him to please call the Aliquippa Police Department or the 911 center. He should be considered armed and dangerous.
Now, Frederick's last known address was in West Aliquippa. He has several tattoos, including a Bugs Bunny on his arm. If you have any information about his whereabouts, contact Aliquippa Police. Reporting live tonight, Kara Sapida, Channel 11 News.
Oopsies. July 24th, 2015. So, July 24th, 2015. Like I said, there you go. Again, Brandon got mail at that Irwin address, 2005 to 2022. Again, that doesn't mean that he lives there, but I do believe at one point he did. He could still, not sure. I do know that during the investigation, they had asked Cervantes' family what he would have been doing over in that area, they said. And I'm guessing when they say like, that area where his body was, because that's not like, at the time his car was one place and his body's in another place. So they were asking him what he would be doing in that area, meaning where his body was found. Don't know what the answers are to that. If they dropped off Robertson, why wasn't his prints in there? Yeah, no, absolutely. I also said, was Gilliam's prints in there? Because the way that they made it seem was that there was just two prints, being John and Brandon. I don't know if maybe they want to change the way they're wording things about, did they just go to Main Street to meet up with their friend? But all reports are saying that it's, dropping him off. Yeah, well, she said that, I should say in quotes, Kayla said that Gilliam had been getting his hair cut at the residence of Dwight Hines in Aliquippa, and left the residence with Robert Robertson and Brandon Rivas. So if you're leaving that residence with those two people, depending on where Dwight Hines lives, maybe it's on Main Street and they just had to walk across the street. Let me check something really quick. Well, yeah. 1110 Main Street. Main Street's long. My guess is that they would have all drove there, got in the vehicle. They could have actually taken 2 cars. I guess you'd have to ask Roberts what his statement would be about that. Again, so he was getting his hair cut, and that they had left that residence with Robertson and Rivas. She stated that she contacted him by cell phone between 12 and 12:30. Cell phones have those time stamps, so I think that there would be like the exact, time. Obviously, they have that. And she was able to speak with him between 12 and 12:30. She was able to speak with him. She stated that Gilliam advised her that Brandon Rivas was driving his vehicle. Now, the only thing that I can think about for that reason is if you're talking to somebody that you're dating and you sound like you're trashed or drunk or whatever, why you'd be telling somebody that they're driving your vehicle. I would think there'd be a reason for that, which I could see being, well, who's driving? Or, who's driving? Because you sound like you're tipsy. So, with that said, I just think to make the comment that, how would she know? How would his girlfriend know that? She was interviewed first before Brandon was, so. But who knows? It's Aliquippa. But I would only think the only reason I would be telling somebody that somebody else is driving is because they were basically saying, you can't drive. You're not driving to Pittsburgh. You're whatever. Start paying attention to the old articles that were written, because I wouldn't be surprised if people start editing their articles. And there's a lot of reporters out there like to edit their old articles. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, so I don't know why else somebody would tell me that somebody else was driving their vehicle, unless I inquired about it. And I think the only reason I'd be doing that is because I thought that you were messed up. But the plan was to go to Pittsburgh. The plan was to go to the casino. So, according to the girlfriend, and I no reason to not believe her story. That'd be the most awful thing to wake up to in the morning, someone knocking at your door and telling you that the person that you love is just awful. My thoughts and prayers go out to Miss Kayla, especially today. I mean, with it being Savante's birthday and all. But yeah, she stated that Rivas was driving the vehicle and that they were just dropping off Robertson at the Main Street bar. So they weren't going to be staying at the Main Street bar. They were just dropping him off. Again, that's what she was told. And she said that she overheard them, saying their goodbye, like, see you later, bye. And that she was able to hear him get out of the vehicle. So then she said that Brandon and Gilliam were going to go to the casino in Pittsburgh. She told Gilliam to come home. So, again, that was when he went over there. But that's when the police went over there that morning at 8:45 in the morning to talk to her. That was what she had said. And then the police just at 8:45, called and had a phone interview with Brandon Rivas. I mean, just wow. Just wow. I remember, like, his body was found at 5:45. By somebody that was driving past. So that doesn't mean that that's when he was killed. Between 12 and 12:30 to 5:45. What is up, Carrie Little? What is up, Maybe Weave? What is up, everybody? I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Type them in chat. But to me, it's very obvious the narrative that the DA is going with. And I'm curious to see if any of these media people, in Pittsburgh, in Beaver, in Aliquippa, are going to, not just believe what they're hearing. I mean, they said they had suspects back in 2016, meaning multiple, which I could see why, because there's, he was with this person, and this person's fingerprints pop up in the car, and I think some people have lost credibility because they've just listened and choked on everything that they are being fed by the district attorney. And it's actually unfortunate, because you should believe what your district attorney is telling you. But when you say Rachel Altondo's death was a crime of passion, knowing that she got shot 9 times in the back that's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And same thing with, is Gilliam a crime of passion? He was shot in the back. He was shot 1 bullet in the back of the head. So, is that a crime of passion? Because I would think that's a coward. Or a hit. Yeah. Interesting, huh? Yeah, curious to hear your thoughts there, Terry. Anybody that's in chat, feel free to write in. Let's see. Is it the fact that Rachel was shot 9 times what makes hers a crime of passion? Being shot 9 times in the back is that's usually not a crime of passion when you're being shot in the back. I think Santa Cola used the words, this looked like a hit. Well, let's take a look at the, I mean, you guys can do it on your own if you would like, but take a look at the path that you would take if, once again, it's going to come into play, which is where Brandon's girlfriend lived. But did they take other people's cell phones once they found out that other people were in that vehicle with their, fingerprints? Did they take John's cell phone and do the same type of thing with it? Maybe John had an alibi. Maybe, I was with him the day before. Maybe John was at the Pittsburgh casino and that's where they were going to meet. Who is John, though? Interesting. And John was young at the time. I think 22 years old. Again, keep in mind those dates. March 29th, 2016, JoJo's Big Pop. John, fingerprints that were in the vehicle of Gilliam's was 4/13, 2016. Again, just a couple weeks, like 2 weeks from each other. Pop. And then JoJo's, that kept on getting, what was the word? Okay, hold on. Oh, and the other thing that happened at the time is, if you go look at February, the car incident happens in February of 2016. Nobody finds out about it, though. Or did they? A lot of things going on. People don't realize that a bunch of working parts. And when I called it Sunset Secrets, I called it that for a reason. Because people don't realize how much all these are in some way connected. But yeah, those arraignments I think that they pled out. That's right. John took a plea deal. And then JoJo doesn't have anything happen, keeps getting continued until 2019. Okay, 2019. Which was... you had Gilliam's death June 1st, 2016. Then you had Rachel's in May 2018. So a whole year after Rachel's death. Then that's when they dealt with all that crap with JoJo. And John pled out because his stuff there was stuff that got taken away. But again, this was all happening right before Gilliam's death and murder. And you heard it from the DA himself saying that they were dealing drugs together. I wonder where he gets that idea from. If I was Frank Atropa, I'd get my lawyer and I would sue. How long was that grand jury? I mean, it's supposed to only last 2 years. All the business that he's lost, all the stuff that's happened. I think I'd make a statement and I would sue. Just my 2 cents. And I'm actually surprised that he hasn't. Hopefully he looks into that. Because all we keep hearing about is grand juries and grand juries and grand juries. You can only have a grand jury for 2 years. Anything after that, no. So, and Lozier might not want to keep on giving out the press conferences because he just keeps botching it. I mean, I want him to keep doing it because he keeps helping me, but I just can't believe that Beaver can't find somebody better. I mean, I know that Beaver could. It's just crazy. Get out and vote. This guy's running again. Find yourself a good candidate. And you guys really need to get out and vote in Beaver. Because this guy can't be calling the shots on who's getting prosecuted and who's not. And for what. This case was buried for a reason in 2016. This case, Gilliam's case, was gonna cause a lot of problems to a lot of people. That's why it was buried. Beaver, you guys aren't getting the truth right now, and I hope that you guys do. Again, just 2 months before his murder, a huge drug, like pop. 329, 413, John's fingerprints in Gilliam's car, in his rental car. Don't know how long he had the rental. Gilliam had just gotten back. He was in not in Aliquippa. He just got back a year before his murder. So he just comes back and boom, let's just start planning out these bank robberies. Well, I don't know about that. So I watched everything you sent me, Lana, and I think the cops are behind the murders. Everything I sent you. I don't know what I sent you. Do you just mean like out on my channel? Yes, because I had not heard the case. Oh, perfect. That's what I thought you meant, because I was like, well, I don't recall me sending anything out, but 2016, this is where John Paul's timeline, if he actually wants to do something good, he should take that timeline, that Rachel Del Tondo timeline that he has, and he needs to take a really, really good look at that. And then he needs to take the drug stuff that he was talking about, the raids of the buildings and stuff like that. take the bank robberies, take the people that went away from him, place those all on your little timeline. And what you will see, I think that John Paul will see something if he does that. So I urge him to do that. I think he'll see something. But I don't think that he should be believing the same person that steered him wrong with Rachel Daltondo's murder. John Paul is too talented for that, if you ask me. And in John Paul's defense, if he truly was believing the DA and that's who he, like, that's his source, but she had other sources, and but if your source is feeding that down your throat, again, can I blame you for not wanting to think that your district attorney's lying to you? I mean, no, I can't blame you for that, but I think that you're very intelligent, that you know that 2 + 2 = 4. So I think that you knew that stuff wasn't adding up. I have no idea why you were doubling down on that narrative, but it's not the right narrative. And this narrative is not the right narrative. Period. So people can say that I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's fine. But I would want to know why, and I would want the right person that was responsible. That's what I would want. But yeah, Carrie, yes, I'm glad that you took the time to look it up. Thank you for doing that. I think that it's very obvious that all these deaths involve a vehicle and involve somebody getting out of a vehicle. And then right after they get out of a vehicle, something horrible happens. So instead of you guys going out there and saying that we have an ice cream killer, because you don't, you have people getting out of vehicles. Rachel, Savante, and Pugh. Very similar. Again, this was buried for a reason. About Rachel's case. I cannot wait to see this technology. How about all the Ring cameras that were over there on Buchanan? And there's no surveillance for Gilliam. I mean, people are acting like 2016 is so like in like the 1980 technology world or something like that. 2016's, I mean, geez. Anyways, the location should be interesting to you guys. The time frames, and I have to say this. Go take a look at the address on the main street. Sorry, not on the main street, but on McMinn. And if this happened supposedly at like 12:30 or 12:45 or whatever, You're going to sit here and tell me that nobody noticed. It was a Tuesday night, by the way, because it was like Wednesday at 5:45 in the morning. So on a Tuesday night, between 12:30, 12:45, and 5:45, nobody saw that body laying there. Like 5 hours had passed, but yet Pugh's body was found within like, a minute or two on Keel Street. And, granted, yes, he was in the middle of the road. But that's at an intersection where Savante was. So, yes, it was dark. But and then someone just decided to take the rental car and drive it and park it where they live. Or could somebody have put it there on purpose? I mean, who knows? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they get people in Aliquip a line for you with alibis. I mean, or calling your girlfriend like 50 million times so that she, has you over, or vice versa. But this has nothing to do with bank robberies. This had to do with way bigger of an operation. I think that somebody that wins a Purple Heart, I think that someone that goes and fights for our country is a pretty credible witness. That's what I think. I think that they would make a very credible witness. And just like the Rachel Altondo case, before her death, it's about muddying people's waters, and that's what happened with releasing all that crap. And people can say that was to humiliate her or whatnot. Yeah, but that goes hand in hand with trying to ruin someone's reputation, muddying their waters, credibility. I just hope that Beaver gets a new DA. So, well, thank you for joining in. And yes, Carrie, lots of corruption. I believe that. Prayers going out to the Gilliam family, the Rivas family as well. Like I said, these two guys were really good friends and like fam. So the term like bittersweet is being said a lot, and I just think that there's a lot more to why friends are killing friends. And to sit here and say it's over $1,500 that he got gypped out of a drug deal, and so he took $1,500 off of, Gilliam. I mean, how would you even know that? How would you even know that Gilliam had $1,500 on him to even say that? Oh, well, that's what, one of the guys told us that we interviewed. He said that he had money on him. That they were like, what, gambling? And is that where you're getting this from? But to say that, because they're going to say, well, when we found him, he didn't have that type of money on him. I don't believe that anybody's killing their best friend over $1,500. And if they are, then that just makes no sense. And it also is sad because $1,500 ain't shit. And everybody in Quip knows that. But clearly somebody wanted to talk for $10,000. So I think that they should start, hey, $10,000 for Rachel. How about $10,000 for who really killed Jimmy? Officer James Nime. How about that? Didn't you just love that, Terry? Don't believe. I just couldn't. I was laughing my ass off. Bless her heart, whoever said it. A lot of cops were getting paid off, getting envelopes. A lot of cops were, tipping people off on when there would be a raid. And so everybody would move the stuff out of wherever it was. A lot of abandoned cars in areas that you would think it just with mad money in them. That would be like a drop off pickup spot. Blackmail's a big thing. If somebody has something on you in that town, they're going to use it. But if you think that it's just black on black crime for some stupid ass shit, it's not. But that's the narrative that they're going to try to push. And I just don't think that you should let them. Once again, even if Brandon is guilty and he pulled the trigger, I'm telling you it wasn't because of $1,500. He's in a situation, he's damned if he does, he's damned if he don't. That's a shitty spot to be in. Again, prayers to everybody in Aliquippa, especially the families. Happy birthday, Gilliam, and you guys take care and be kind in chat. Until next time, Truth and Transparency, Sunset Secrets. Again, these are just special live updates. Those of you guys that are following the case, more of insight and to understand the area. Again, thank you for your time, and we'll see you later.